I like in these chairs, I like to slide forward. So I'm kind of over that front lip. It gets my sits bones a little more anchored into the earth. But it's your choice, but it makes it. So find your base. And from the base, drop a line of energy into the earth and ground yourself. And let go. Let go of any unnecessary tension in your body, any concerns, any worries, any nervousness about being in a group, any frustration of getting here, any things like that which really don't serve you. Let them go into the earth and feel them leave your body. Feel them leave your body. And then bring your attention to your coccyx. And from the coccyx, draw that line of energy up through the spine, on up to the top of your head and up to the crown chakra. And in the crown, please connect with your higher self. And please thank yourself for all the hard work you do to be who you are. And then let us together take our attention onward, point in the heavens where we all meet, up the apex of a pyramid, and from that point, let's create a pyramid over our time together. And we're creating a space over the ZB benefit. And we're creating a space where learning happens, camaraderie happens, community develops, and new learnings occur. And we're creating that space where we hold one another in the highest personal regard. And so please put your attention onto yourself for a moment and hold yourself in the highest regard. And feel what that feels like. And let that feeling come into the body. And then letting that imagery go. Take your attention back up to the apex of the pyramid. And from there, draw that line of energy down to the top of your head and down through your chakra alignment, lighting things up as you go. Light up the crown. Light up the brow. Light up the throat. Light up the heart. Light up the solar plexus. Light up the pelvis. And light up your base. And then feel connected between heaven and earth through this lighted pyramid of energy. And at the same time, feel centered and grounded in yourself. Then I wish you'd put your attention onto your breathing, onto your breath. And I'd like us together to breathe parallel lines of breath energy between crown and base, base to crown. And I ask you to feel that breath energy as it moves through the body. The power of this meditation is feeling the breath energy move through you. Breathing in the top of your head and out your base. Exhaling from the base out the top of your head. Sit for a moment, breathing these lines of energy through your body. And then I wish you would make some imagery of the ZB community and put that in your lower dantian and continue to breathe parallel lines of breath energy through your body and through the imagery of the ZB community. A few more breaths. And then letting the imagery leave your body, breathe several more lines of parallel breath, just to erase the blackboard, just to organize your field. And then let all the imagery go and bring your attention back to your base and sit back and enjoy yourself for a few moments. For the Tao Te Ching, this is Stephen Mitchell's translation. If you want to shrink something, you must first allow it to expand. If you want to get rid of something, you first must allow it to flourish. If you want to take something, you must first allow it to be given. This is called the subtle perception of the way things are. The soft overcomes the hard. The slow overcomes the fast. Let your workings remain a mystery. Just show people the results. Tao Te Ching, good choice. So I want to welcome you all to the benefit to the cultivating community and connection in the ZB world. How many of you are joining us for the first time tonight? About half. Good, beautiful. I want to start by thanking the office for all the work they've done in putting this together. Cindy Bridgen, Lee Bean, and Stan Fox. And I wish you three would stand up for a moment and just take a round of applause. You guys are the backbone. Without you there, none of this would happen. And I also want to thank the faculty committee for arranging the faculty program of the last couple of days and arranging the benefit. As you know, the faculty committee are Susan Klein, Michelle Doucette, Judah Sullivan, Helen LeClaire, Dorset Edmonds, and Pat Dorsey. And I wish you guys would stand up. It takes work to put this together, and there have been many other people who have helped along the way, and just thanks to everybody for putting this on, and thank you all for coming. Because without you, we couldn't do what we're doing. So we need you, so thank you. This year, on New Year's night, I had a dream. And I've shared this dream with a number of you before. But in the dream, Zero Bouncing had just burst out of a container and was exploding into the world. As I dreamt this, I remember feeling this explosion in my body as it was happening. It was like the fireworks in Dubai. This is an exciting moment. And then I saw lines of people with their credit cards out, lining up for something. The dream electrified me for quite a while, and it really gave me great optimism over ZB. And as I reflected over this dream in the last couple months, I had this understanding that for the first few years of ZB, the energies we put into ZB just were all absorbed into the organization, just pouring energy in, pouring it in to get things going, getting grounded. And then something began to happen. The energy began to turn itself around and begin to bubble up the other way, and then began to overflow the container. And then in the dream, it began to burst out. And I realized, especially since having this dream, that ZB has been the springboard of creativity for a lot of people. It's been something beyond ZB. And all I need to do is to walk down the hall and see all these things out in the hall, the books and the videos and the t-shirts and the hats and the ceramics. And you see all this manifestation of the energy which has come out of the creativity of the people who have been in the ZB world. So I really see this as exploding, and I like the imagery of ZB being a springboard for creativity. Specifically, the classes that have been created. It's imaginary classes by Judith Sullivan, Jim McCormick, Linda Woboskaya, Michael Arch, Michelle Doucette, Susan Klein, Sandra Savine, and others. They've created these programs, and I put a list in the back: form and fulcrums, kinesthetic signatures, Spirit of the Organs, Secrets of the Skull, ZB Kids, Fabulous Fulcrums, Touching the Spirit, Inner Alchemy, Unity at the Midline, Touching the Whole Person, Making Consciousness in the Process of Mastery, Verbal Fulcrums, The Art of ZB, Alchemy of Touch, Geometry of Healing, Freely Movable Joints, ZB by the Sea. All of these have been evolving from us, from the simple understanding of the ZB principles. So it's been extremely exciting to see what's happening, and I think we're really in a creative outflow. The benefit itself is certainly an example of that. You people coming and the energy, and Stan, I want to thank you and for having the courage and the willingness to come up and play tonight. Again, it's a bursting of creativity, and for David to play the piano and to entertain us with music, it just keeps happening. Books have been written. John Hamway's book, Judith's book, Michelle Doucette's, Mary Alice Cullinan, John Hamway I mentioned, John Hamway, and John Franklin. And others have written books about ZB and coming from ZB. And my hope is that all of you have had creative moments in your life which have evolved from your being involved in the ZB world. Whether it's in your sense of touch, whether it's in sense of community, sense of being a model for other people, finding ways of navigating life more easily, following ZB principles, whatever it might be. I just hope ZB is being a creative force in your life beyond doing ZB. It's that next level. So I'm very optimistic and hopeful about zero balancing. I travel a lot. I travel around the world, less than I used to, but I still travel a lot in this country. And every place I go, I'm in the ZB community, I find this energy and this feeling and this community and this love there. And it's for a lot of reasons, but two things came to my mind as I was putting these ideas together to share. The first is the mindset that we have of holding one another in the highest personal regard is a key piece of zero balancing. And we were talking this morning, when we compare ourselves with other people, which is not a great habit, but we do it, and usually when we compare ourselves, we tend to be the loser. Either they know more than I do, she knows more than I do, they're smarter than I am, I wish I could do that. And all of these things tend to lower our self-image and put us down in very subtle ways. And holding yourself in the highest regard is an internal fulcrum which begins to lift you out of this programming that we get into, which diminishes who we are. So once again, I wish you'd just close your eyes for a moment, and once again, just hold yourself in the highest personal regard. Just hold yourself in high regard. And again, feel what that feels like. Because if you can identify this feeling, all you need to do is to create this feeling, and automatically you'll hold yourself in the highest regard. So let the imagery go and come on back together. But holding yourself and others in high regard is a fulcrum which really works. I was sharing yesterday in the faculty talk, or this morning, being in a line at the airport waiting to go through security. And to pass the time, I decided, well, I'm going to hold everybody here in the line in the highest personal regard. So I'm standing there in line, I'm holding everybody in the highest regard. And all of a sudden, the room just went quiet. Now, whether it was my mind and my brain which was quieting down and I felt the quiet, or whether the room quieted down, I'd have to have someone else there to tell me which happened. But my experience was everything just went, and it just made standing in line fun, enjoyable. And there was no stress anymore because I was in a field of peace and calm and high regard. So it's a fulcrum which you can use on yourself. This is one reason I think the ZB community is so beautiful. Another reason, the second thought that came to mind, are the donkey leans. And meaning particularly that we've all touched each other in a meaningful way, energy and structure simultaneously and consciously. And we've been touched in that way and touch others. We know each other in ways that most people do not know one another. And it's a great touch. It's so neutral. I mean, it has no agenda to it, has no purpose to it, has no sexual vibration in it, it has nothing to throw us off center. It's just the purity of touch. And someone was telling me that touch, in a way, is more honest than vocal sharing. Touch is just an honest communication. And I think the fact that we touch each other in this way over and over and over again with fulcrums in one way, that our community is beautiful. And I'm sure there are other reasons, but those two came to mind. This springboard of creativity has not passed me over, and I've been affected by it too. And in particular, this last year, I've been working on a course, ZB in Consciousness. And I gave my first class at David Lauderstein School last September. Then I taught in New York with Michael. I taught in Tucson with Dorset, in Boston with Jim McCormick, and I'm teaching one more time out in Boston, out in Chicago, the first week of June. And exploring consciousness this last year has been an amazing journey for me and has opened me up in ways I hadn't understood or expected. And it's just been a gift to me. To help understand consciousness, well, once you open the discussion of consciousness, it's like opening Pandora's box. I mean, all of us have different worldviews, and none of us see the world the same way. We all have different attitudes. What is consciousness? The agreement, there's just no real agreement. It's a mystery. I mean, it still is a mystery as to what it is. And as we explore this, Mina and I last fall went to a conference out in San Jose put on by the SANS group. And the conference, a 4-day conference, was a dialogue between scientists who were attempting to understand consciousness in terms of the scientific world, their conversation with the metaphysicians like Deepak Chopra and others looking at consciousness from a metaphysical standpoint. And these two groups were in dialogue for 4 days. It was a very interesting conference, and turned out that nobody really knew what consciousness is. But it seemed like there's a shift in the scientific paradigm of consciousness. They used to think, according to this conference, they used to think that consciousness was created by our minds, was created by our brain, that the consciousness was up here in our brain, and that's what we were creating. And they found there are a lot of loopholes in that level of thinking, and so a new paradigm is arising. And this paradigm is that consciousness just is. Consciousness is part of nature, it's part of the world, it just is. We are part of consciousness rather than consciousness being part of us. A huge flip over. And having that idea and playing with it has again taken me on places that I didn't expect to go. I'm thinking of days that I studied acupuncture many, many years ago, and they first introduced me to the world of energy. And in the dialogue of energy and trying to understand energy and work with energy, we came to the conclusion that everything is energy. Everything's a manifestation of energy, either something which is seen, like the chair, or something unseen, like the vibrations in the room or the wind blowing through the sails, that everything is a manifestation of energy. And the second understanding was that energy moves in a curve, in a vibration. Sound is a vibration. Light, things move in vibration. And so the curve, whether the curve is the energy or whether the curve carries the energy, I don't know. But the curve and vibration go hand in hand with concepts of energy. So everything's energy, so everything's vibration. They kind of go together. Now, after this conference, we've got consciousness, and consciousness is everywhere. So now we've got the big three of the unseen world. The big three, we have the world of consciousness, you have the world of energy, and you have the world of vibration. And these all kind of overlay one another, and it gives us this, it gives us the possibility you can work with energy, you can work with vibration, and you can work with consciousness. It gives us another dimension to work with once you understand everything is consciousness. Every fulcrum affects consciousness to one degree or another. And I'll come back to that in a moment. But the big three, consciousness, energy, and vibration, these are the big three, to me anyway, in the unseen world. And I like to work with all three of them. The Chinese have the model of learning or of education, and this ancient Chinese, they said there are three levels of learning, of understanding. The first level is rote learning. The second level is understanding, and the third level is embodying. So when you learn mathematics, 2 and 2 is 4, 4 and 4 and 8, and so on, you just learn this. It's rote memory, and all of us are doing rote memory all the time, learning, depending on what it is. I'm sure Stan understands this, learning the cello. Part of it you play just because you're supposed to play it. And then you go to the next step where you begin to understand what you're doing. It's beyond. In ZB we say, please do the fulcrums this way, do the fulcrums this way, hold the body this way, stand this way. So you do it because we ask you to do it. But as you do this for a while, suddenly understanding begins to show up. And it's an exciting part of learning. You begin to understand what's happening, and all these ideas and things coming up, and books are written, and ideas and paintings and all this from your understanding of what's going on. And then as you continue to work with things, you begin to embody it. You begin to embody it. And the faculty here, we did exercises yesterday, and numbers of faculty touched me, and every touch I had delighted me and really touched my donkey. And I really got that these people who touched me had really embodied ZB. And the only way of embodiment, or the way of embodiment, is repetition. If you want to learn Tai Chi and you want to embody Tai Chi, you start out by doing because you're supposed to do it. You keep doing it, you understand it. You keep doing it, and little by little, it takes you deeper and deeper. And pretty soon, Tai Chi is part of you. And in ZB, once you've embodied ZB, when you do a zero balancing, you are expressing yourself through the idiom of zero balancing rather than doing zero balancing. It's in the mind, you're doing ZB and do beautiful work. But you embody it, it's an expression of yourself through zero balancing. And those of us who teach a lot, the teaching, you've embodied the information, so when you start teaching, it's just not the facts that you're teaching your internal understanding, it's your vibration, it's my vibration, which comes out. And so the process of rote learning embodiment is there. So as I've been playing with this consciousness, start out with rote, that's what they're telling me. Oh, consciousness is everywhere. And I begin to play with that idea, and then I begin to understand, well, that's probably true. Begin to look and begin to feel. Then I haven't fully embodied it yet. Every now and then I get a glimpse that I'm really embodying it, but I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still embodying that concept. I know I've got more learning to do in my meditation, when it becomes a different level. But the far as I've gotten with it, several things have happened. I remember as a goalie years ago, it used to teach the meditation, I'm not my mind, I'm not my body, I'm not my job, I'm not my profession, I'm not a father, I'm not a whatever. It keeps what you're not, you're not, you're not. What you are is a shining light of all possibility. For me now, it now translates what I am is consciousness. It's really made, as the goal is teaching, deeper in me. And then you think of Maharaji's viewpoint of the I am that, I am that. And I've been playing with I am that for a long time. And suddenly that now has another meaning. Now it's consciousness. Instead of just being an abstract that, I'm now consciousness. When I read Thich Nhat Hanh's book, No Death, No Fear, I realize that as I've gotten into his book, that I now see there's no death because it's all consciousness. And I begin to understand his work more deeply. So my whole metaphysical, spiritual life is having a deeper understanding, a deeper dimension, because I'm understanding more, embodying more the possibility that everything is consciousness. And so in teaching the class, ZB and consciousness has been wonderful. And one thing I've found in teaching this is that it's easier to induce an expanded state of consciousness in my client if I am a little bit expanded. And so in ZB and consciousness, we begin to teach exercises of how to expand yourself. So we start putting in fulcrums and so on. They translate into another possibility. And in just a few moments, I'm going to give you an exercise. We'll do an exercise together to help to translate you from the linear world of thinking into the experiential world of doing. And in doing ZB, what Yogi Berra says, you can't think and hit at the same time. You can't think and hit at the same time. And I'm thinking, really, if you want to do good ZB, you can't think and do ZB at the same time. You need to be out of your thinking mind. So you're in the world of experience. And so we've designed exercises to take you from one state to another, and then to give you the comfort in the expanded states so that you're able to work with them and still be fully responsible even though you're expanded. So I'd like to give you one simple exercise to help move you from linear thinking into the world of experience and expanded states. So put your books down. And I want you to reach under your chair, and I want you to find part of the chair with one hand, which is very solid. I've been sitting in played of these chairs before, whether it's that metal bar or whether it's the wooden seat. Find some place that you're really comfortable touching and gives you a good solid connection. And then come off. So here's the exercise. And part of the exercise we'll pause between each moment, each exercise, and during that pause, I want you just to feel how you feel. Just pay attention to what you feel like at that particular moment. So what I wish you'd do is to reach under the chair, and with one finger, I want you to put a fulcrum into the chair. And then come off. See how you feel. Now I want you to put another fulcrum into the chair, but this time I want you to get behind yourself. Put in a fulcrum, but get behind yourself. Put a fulcrum into the chair. And then come off and see how you feel. Now I want you to go back, I want you to put a fulcrum into the essence of the chair. Put in a fulcrum into the essence of the chair. And come off and see how you feel. In the last exercise, using the chair as a surrogate, I want you to put a fulcrum into the dysfunctional congress that we have. Reach under the chair and put a fulcrum into congress. And balance congress. And then come off and be with yourself for a moment. My hope is that by this time you're feeling different than you did 3 or 4 minutes ago. And you have moved yourself from a linear perspective of the world, of listening to me, of hearing this, to a different experience of consciousness. And to the extent that you feel that you did change Congress, know how deep you go. How many people felt like you changed Congress? Was that? And once you have that possibility, not only is it a real possibility, but from the individual standpoint, each of you individually, it's taken you into a different part of yourself. It's taken you into the world of experience, into the world of possibility, and in the world of mystery that wasn't there a few moments ago when we did the fulcrum into the chair. It's amazing how high one gets doing that, even leading this. I mean, it might so expand it already. I'm just, ready to. Dorset and I were talking earlier this afternoon, and Dorset was telling me that in the TED Talks, they found that 18 minutes is the prime time for people to understand, listen to you before they begin to lose attention. And so I'm limiting this to an 18-minute talk this evening. I'm making it very short because we're tired. And we have one more activity with the faculty in a few moments. In a moment, I'll turn this over to Susan. But I just want to take these few moments to say that ZB is alive and well in my mind. ZB is a springboard of creativity for each of you individually, as well as it is a therapeutic tool and a actualization tool for your clients. And so it plays out both in terms of your clients, in terms of yourself. And as this happens, and as you continue to embody zero balancing and make it your own, it again will change everything for you. Because you will find, I have found, and I'm sure you will too, that you find it's a constant expression of your own creativity. And once you can tap into that well within yourself, and you keep tapping into your own creativity with every ZB, every fulcrum, it just makes you healthier, healthier, healthier doing this work. And so what I want to leave you tonight with the idea is that everybody wins in doing zero balancing. It's a lovely system, and I thank you all for giving it energy, and my hope is all the energy that you give it comes back to you in spades. Really comes back. And as people found, the faculty committee who've been working so hard to put this together, they get this huge release of energy from having done this, and people in the office, and the people on the board, and people in the more active you are in whatever organization you're in, the more you will get out of it. Whether it's in the ZB world, the acupuncture world, the Upledger world, or acupuncture, wherever it is, the more you put into it, the more you will get back out. So do invest in your life, and I just hope part of that investment goes into zero balancing.